Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Carrie,
And I'm Will.
and this is the Baseball and Chain podcast, where a husband and wife discuss the current happenings in Major League Baseball. There are currently 25 days until opening day. Exciting. That's like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. It's a nice even quarter. Not a quarter of a month, though.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's some weird math. What's a quarter of 31? 7, 8?
It's like 7.8. It's a baseball podcast. We don't have to do math.
Yeah.
What do we have planned for the day?
So today the meat of the episode is going to be an NL East preview. So we're going to give like a speed run overview of each team. We're going to have 5 minutes on a timer. And when the timer is up, you will hear this sound. Okay, it's going to keep going. I didn't realize it was going to keep going. Yeah, you'll hear that sound. We have not rehearsed this at all, so we might get buzzed out by our own buzzer, but we're going to try to make it within the time frame.
All right, so let's get into it.
So before we get into the preview, there were a couple, well, just one housekeeping item from the last episode we did. When I was talking about DJ LeMahieu, I said he was pushing 40. He's only 34. I don't know what I was thinking about. I might have been thinking about what his current age is in my MLB The Show franchise or something, but...
Or the fact that he looks like he's 40.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He doesn't really look like he's 40. He's got like a lot of freckles and stuff. He looks kind of young for 34.
Only young people can have freckles?
No. He's...
Well, he's certainly no leprechaun, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
So, quick headlines. We're just going to rattle them off. So, spring training is not just for the players. It's also for the announcers. On the Mets and Marlins broadcast the other night, the Mets announcer Keith Hernandez, former player for the Mets, slips up while naming the starters and says Chaz Chisholm is starting in center field.
I mean, if you can, Jism.
You can't beat him, Chisholm. Yeah, so I feel like some t-shirts are probably going to be made out of that.
I'd buy one.
Me too. Brian Reynolds
Not to be confused with Ryan Reynolds.
has requested a trade from the Pirates, even though he has 2 years left on his contract. And the Pirates have denied him multiple times through multiple requests. And now they are $50 million apart in their proposed contract deals. Like the Pirates want to offer him $50 million less than he's requesting. And he says he's still open to a deal happening, but it doesn't sound like the Pirates are willing to pay that much money for him.
Is his trade request just because they're so far apart on their ideas?
I don't know if it's just that or if the Pirates are terrible, because they are.
I mean, we do know that the Pirates are terrible.
But Machado,
After all the crap that we talked, everything that we had to say, Machado, in his loud mouth, finally got his extension. 11 years, $350 million.
yeah.
It's obscene.
There was a quote that, I don't know if it was Machado or Padres staff came out with that said something along the lines of, we were talking for a while, but, we mutually saw that we had the same color in our minds, which was brown, like the Padres brown. And all the comments on that post that I saw said, no, it was more like green.
$350 million is a lot of money. It's a shitload of money.
Padres just keep shitting it out.
Yeah.
And giving it to everybody. Tyler Glasnow. Well, hold on.
Tyler Glass later, apparently.
There were some injuries that have happened early on in spring training. Some less severe than others, but Tyler Glasnow, one of them, had an oblique strain, grade 2. It's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8, not 68.
Yeah, 68 would be
over a year.
A long time.
For a grade 2 oblique.
He was already out over a year with Tommy John. He'll be back sometime in the end of April or beginning of May. And then Gavin Lux.
Torn ACL.
Done for the year. He was running from second to third on a ground ball that was hit to the third base side. And the third baseman was throwing the ball towards second. Gavin Lux appeared to try to get out of the way of the throwing lane, and when he did so, he landed awkwardly, and when he was trying to regain his balance, his right knee just completely gave out. You really don't like to see that, and especially in games that don't really count.
Makes me sick to my stomach thinking of that.
Yeah. He was primed to be their starting shortstop for the Dodgers for through the rest of his contract, as Trey Turner just went to the Phillies. Sucks on a lot of fronts.
Yeah.
Pitch clock watch. So, as everybody knows by now, it's been everywhere. The pitch clock is a new rule for the upcoming season. And there were two things that happened this week that were on opposite ends of the news spectrum, both one negative and one positive. So, first, the Red Sox and the Braves game ended on a pitch clock violation. The Braves batter did not get in the box with 8 seconds left, and it ended in a 6-6 tie because spring training games don't go until there's a winner, unless the managers want it to go any longer. But yeah, that one was called on a pitch clock violation, strikeout. It was 3-2, 2 outs. I think bases loaded, 6-6 tie. That ended the game.
It's too bad.
Gotta pay attention.
Gotta know the rules.
Gotta know the rules.
Is that pitch clock related?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Well, no, it's not really, is it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we have one pitch clock story. The next story is just a feel-good story from spring training this week.
The Orioles and the Pirates finished their game without umpires to give Ofrady Gomez a chance to pitch as scheduled. The game was officially over because the home team Pirates were leading, but the managers convened and decided to continue to play the bottom of the ninth anyway. Catcher Maverick Handley for the Orioles was calling his own balls and strikes.
Yeah, it was pretty funny to watch. Really funny as in odd and funny as in hilarious because...
Was he accurate?
There was no umpire there, and then, he catches his slider over the outside corner and goes, oh! It was pretty great.
I didn't watch that, but I should.
Yeah, definitely. So, as we said at the top, we are going to dive into our NL East preview now. And the first team we have is the Washington Nationals. We're going to alternate back and forth. I will start with the Nationals. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock and see how much of this I can get through. Starting now. The Nationals made the following off-season moves. They signed third baseman Jimmer Candelario. They claimed Jeter Downs off waivers from the Red Sox. They signed left field Corey Dickerson. They also signed Dom Smith and Trevor Williams, who are both former Mets. So those players are staying in the same division. They lost Nelson Cruz to free agency, and there were a couple retirements both from their bullpen, Steve Cishek and Jake McGee. Their lineup is as follows: right field, Lane Thomas; left field, Corey Dickerson; designated hitter, Joey Meneses; third base, Jimmer Candelario; catcher, Keibert Ruiz; first base, Dominic Smith; shortstop, CJ Abrams; center field, Victor Robles. Their starting rotation: right-hander Josiah Gray; left-hander Patrick Corbin; right-hander Trevor Williams; right-hander Cade Cavalli; left-hander Mackenzie Gore. They have a lot of youth on their team. A lot of these moves were, as I see it, kind of just filler for their younger guys to develop a little bit more and get up onto the team within the next couple of years. My outlook for them for this season, they seem like they're in full rebuild mode with some young, unproven talent on the team. Just looking at their lineup, they've got 4 or 5 guys that are all 25 or younger, some of which they got in the trade to the Padres for Juan Soto. I didn't include him in the players they lost because technically it wasn't this offseason. It was middle of last year. The starting rotation seems to be the team's strength, but looking at the entire roster, there's not really anything that you could actually call a strength. It might be too harsh, but like I said, they're all young players and not really a lot of experience, and the ones that are older seem to be just placeholders for the ones that are yet to come up. So
Not a lot to write home about.
nope, not a lot. They do have Carl's Jr. though in the bullpen.
Do you think they get free Carl's Jr.?
Probably not, because isn't Carl's Jr. like a West Coast thing there in Washington? Like, I know it's Hardee's. It's Hardee's called over here more than Carl's Jr.
I couldn't even tell you if I've ever eaten there in my life. So,
Yeah, it's like the same thing, Hardee's and Carl's Jr., but I think they call it...
Isn't it also like Checkers? Are they all like the same brand?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, that's probably not good.
So, yeah. We have a minute and a half left on the Washington Nationals, and we're talking about Hardee's and Carl's Jr.
Well, I think you skipped a place on the batting order.
Did I?
Yeah, you didn't say Luis Garcia.
Oh. Yeah. Luis Garcia is batting
Not
ninth.
bad.
Second base. He's 22. Another young gun in there.
Nice.
So, Nationals. I like their City Connect uniforms.
Is that the one with the...
Cherry blossoms. Yeah.
When I went to DC, they didn't have any cherry blossoms like blooming. It was like off season or something. Kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
The weather was also like pretty crappy.
Well,
It was pretty cold.
I'm kind of disappointed in the Washington Nationals off season.
They seem kind of unmotivated.
Yeah. They're depending a lot on the people they got back from the Soto trade. So if they can't get that straight, then it's going to be another few years in the rebuild. And there's our first buzzer.
Woo-hoo. All right, next up we have the Miami Marlins.
5 minutes on the clock.
And go. In the Marlins offseason, they got JT Chargois and Xavier Edwards in a trade with the Rays. They signed Garrett Hampson, who is a speed threat for them. They traded relief pitcher for relief pitcher with Richard Blyer and Matt Barnes being traded for each other. They signed Gene Segura. They traded JJ for AJ. We talked about that
Last
episode. The 2022 American League batting champ was traded to the Marlins from the Twins. Luis Arraez. I don't care what his name is. I do care. I just can't read or speak Spanish. Pablo Lopez. All right, people who they lost. Pablo Lopez, who was their number 2 or 3 starter from 2022. They lost third baseman Brian Anderson, not to be confused with the Rays broadcaster. They lost Miguel Rojas in a trade for Jacob Amaya. For their projected starting lineup, we have Chaz Chisholm playing center field. Number 2, Jorge?
Yep.
Soler
power.
Playing DH, Luis Arraez playing second base, Garrett Cooper playing first base, Avisail Garcia playing right field, Gene Segura playing third base, Joey Wendell, good old Joey, playing shortstop, Brian De La Cruz playing left field, and Jacob Stallings playing catcher. Their starting pitchers are right-handed pitcher Sandy Alcantara, right-handed pitcher
Johnny
Cueto. Sorry, I couldn't tell if that was a T or an L. I don't know how to read.
It's also squished together on the page.
Left-handed pitcher Jesus Lizardo, which looks like Lizard, so I bet he's a really cool guy.
I think they call him Lizard King.
I love that so much. Right-handed pitcher Edward Cabrera and left-handed pitcher Trevor Rogers. You don't hear the last name Cabrera very much anymore. And in the bullpen, they have right-handed pitcher Dylan Floro, left-handed pitcher Tanner Scott. Yep, Scott. The other one is Scott somewhere, I think. Right-handed pitcher Matt Barnes, left-handed pitcher AJ Puck. Puck. Right-handed pitcher JT Chargois. Puck. Left-handed pitcher Stephen Okert. Right-handed pitcher Tommy Nance. And right-handed pitcher Huascar Brazaban. Is that supposed to be like Oscar?
Huascar. Yeah.
Huascar.
Okert? Okay.
Just a little... Oh my god, I forgot her name. Nicki Minaj moment for you. It's not Nicki Minaj.
Whatever.
Oh my god, what's her name?
I don't know.
Famous rapper. She good. It's fine. I'm biased. I don't like the Marlins very much, so I don't really care to say all that much about them. Their pitching rotation seems to be the main strength, but the lineup is sneaky dangerous. Chaz Chisholm, Jorge Soler, Luis Arraez are projected 1 through 3 in the batting order, and honestly, they're good enough to be on pretty much any team in the Major League.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I would take any of them as top 3 in the lineup.
I want Jazz. I just want Jazz. There seems to be a lot of hype around him this year, and I feel like that excitement is going to translate to his over 4 that bet that we had. Crap.
Oh, errors?
Oh, under 4. Under 4 errors.
Yeah. We're almost out of time, but what I think is interesting about the Marlins is that they had like 7 something ridiculous like that second baseman on their roster, and I think that's one of the reasons why they put him in center field. And then like Joey Wendell is not a traditional shortstop, but that's where they have him projected to play right now. So
Because he played third for the Rays, right?
Mostly. I mean, he can play anywhere around the a diamond pretty much in outfield. But yeah,
He's such a badass. He doesn't even wear batting gloves.
yeah. His brother also zapped him with stuff when he was younger and basically tortured him. It's but when he tells stories about it, he's always smiling. So I guess either he killed his brother.
That was not the direction I thought that was going.
And remembers it fondly, or he just thinks that's practical jokes. So.
I mean, at the time he probably didn't enjoy it much, but it seemed to work to his advantage.
Yeah.
So.
He was reared correctly. The Philadelphia Phillies. Cheesesteaks. Starting now. The Phillies made the following offseason moves. They signed shortstop Trey Turner. They signed starting pitcher Taijuan Walker. Relief pitcher Matt Strahm. Relief pitcher / closer Craig Kimbrell. They traded 3 prospects, Matt Vierling, Nick Matone, and Donnie Sands, for relief pitcher Gregory Soto and second baseman Cody Clemens, who is the son of Roger Clemens.
It's pretty cool.
He's not a pitcher, though, surprisingly. So
I don't think I really have an understanding of how old Roger Clemens is, because
you think he's in his 50s.
I thought he was older than that. So him having a son actively playing in MLB seems wild to me, but I guess it's really not.
They also added second baseman Josh Harrison, who was on the White Sox last year, who they lost. Starting pitcher Zach Eflin, Noah Syndergaard, relief pitchers David Robertson and Brad Hand, and Gene Segura, who we just talked about going to the Marlins. So that's another theme of players staying in the division, like we talked about with the Nationals pitchers earlier. Their lineup, you have shortstop Trey Turner, left fielder Kyle Schwarber, first base Rhys Hoskins, catcher JT Realmuto, right fielder Nick Castellanos, designated hitter Derek Hall, third baseman Alec Boehm, second baseman Bryson Stott, center field Brandon Marsh. Bryce Harper is not included in that starting lineup because he had Tommy John surgery this offseason, and he is projected to be back by the All-Star break at the latest. So he's going to miss the first half of the season. So they didn't lose very much from what they had last year, and what they did lose, they kind of just reloaded and in some cases upgraded, like Trey Turner over Gene Segura and Bryson Stott, who they had playing shortstop last year. Stott gets moved over to second. He's one of their better young prospects. They made a surprise playoff run in 2022 out of seemingly nowhere, and all of their bats in the lineup got hot at the right time, and they made it all the way to the World Series. Granted, they lost, but to be basically considered not going to the playoffs to making the World Series is pretty good. So now they are primed to be involved in the 3-horse race with the Mets and Braves for the division. I just realized I didn't talk about their rotation or their bullpen. For their starting rotation, they have Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Taijuan Walker, Ranger Suarez, and Bailey Falter. In the bullpen, Seranthony Dominguez, Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrell, Gregory Soto, Andrew Bellotti, Matt Strahm, Connor Brogdon, and Nick Nelson. Seranthony Dominguez was really good in the playoffs last year. Craig Kimbrell has kind of had some up and down seasons the last few years when he was on the Dodgers, but he's got a lot of experience. So I think they added where they needed and should be pretty good this coming year. Any thoughts?
I think that if anyone wants to make any moves before Bryce Harper gets back, it's the time to do it. You gotta win fast and early.
You mean the other teams in the division?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if the Phillies can just kind of keep afloat with the projected roster that we just listed, and then Bryce Harper comes back and replaces Derek Hall or whoever they have at DH, because that's more than likely where Bryce Harper's going to go, then they're set. They're golden.
Yeah.
So I think they can contend with the Braves and the Mets this year and make a run for the division based off of last year. All right. Next
up, we have the Atlanta Braves.
Starting now.
In the offseason, the Braves made the following moves. They signed relief pitcher Nick Anderson, former Ray. He is extensive in the injury history, and he hasn't pitched since 2021, so you guys can have him. That's fine. They added Sam Hilliard in a trade for outfield depth. They traded for left-handed pitcher Lucas Luetge. I can't read.
It's a weird name.
Lucas. I can't even say Lucas now. They traded for left-handed pitcher Lucas Luetge from the Yankees. They added Jordan Luplow. Loop has two O's. This has a U. They added Jordan Luplow. He is a platoon bat versus the left-handed pitchers. And they traded 5 prospects to Oakland for catcher Sean Murphy while keeping Travis d'Arnaud. Moved to give him some rest, split games between them. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Travis d'Arnaud. So whatever keeps him healthy, but I still want to watch him play.
Travis literally said he had no issue with that move and said it's just something they discussed to save his knees, literally.
I'm good with it.
He's like 34, I think.
Yeah, and he's wonderful. In the offseason, they also lost shortstop Dansby Swanson and closing pitcher Kenley Jansen. The lineup for the Atlanta Braves: right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr., first baseman Matt Olson, third baseman Austin Riley, catcher Sean Murphy, center fielder Michael Harris II, second baseman Ozzie Albies, designated hitter Marcell Ozuna, left fielder Eddie Rosario, and shortstop Vaughn Grissom. Their starting pitchers rotation is left-handed pitcher Max Fried, right-handed pitcher Kyle Wright, right-handed pitcher Charlie Morton. Do you like me some Morton too? Right-handed pitcher Spencer Strider, and right-handed pitcher Ian Anderson.
Uncle Charlie.
Their bullpen includes Raisel Iglesias, who is a right-handed pitcher, left-handed pitcher AJ Minter, right-handed pitcher Joe Jimenez. As soon as I started saying the J, I was like, you're so embarrassing. Ugh, man. Right-handed pitcher Colin McHugh. So why is it some of it's Huff, some of it's Hugh? You never know. Lucas Luetge, right-handed pitcher, left-handed pitcher Kirby Yates, left-handed pitcher Dylan Lee, and right-handed pitcher Jackson Stevens.
I almost thought you were going to say Steffens.
No, but I did say Jackson. So, reading makes me nervous. The Braves didn't really lose many guys, but losing your starting shortstop is big. However, they have a highly touted prospect ready to step in and go to work in Vaughn Grissom. They're only 2 years removed from winning the World Series and have locked up several young guys to long-term deals that have already proven to be instrumental in their success. I think that the Braves are still sitting around the top of the mountain. They obviously didn't win last year, but that doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing so. I would like to add them to the list of stadiums that we go to this year so that we can watch them play at home. I have been before, but I think it'd be cool to witness them while they're still doing good, because when I went and saw them, they sucked super bad.
Yeah. I've been vocal from episode 1 that the Braves are like my second team, or they were my first team that I cheered for, because I grew up in Richmond and their farm team was in Richmond. Also, they won the division last year when the Mets were supposed to just sweep through them. And yeah, so I think they are still, probably one of the favorites. I know like the Mets made a lot of moves, but I think the Braves are still up there.
I'd like to see them do some work.
Yeah. Next up, we have the New York Mets. This one is going to be a lot of talking, so hopefully this works out.
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. Starting new. The Mets made the following offseason moves. They were super active. Uncle Stevie opened his wallet big time. They extended outfielder Brandon Nimmo, 8 years, $162 million. Closer Edwin Diaz also got extended, 5 years, $102 million. They signed 2022 Cy Young winner Justin Verlander for 2 years, $86.6 million. They signed international free agent Kodai Senga, 5 years, $75 million. He has a ghost forkball pitch, and he can also throw over 100 miles an hour. 102 miles an hour is his highest speed fastball he's clocked. They signed left-handed pitcher veteran Jose Quintana for 2 years, $26 million to bolster their starting rotation. They added several veteran relievers in Brooks Raley, who's a former Rays pitcher, David Robertson, who was on the Phillies last year, and Adam Ottavino. They also signed Tommy Pham to platoon versus left-handed pitchers. Who they lost? Starting pitcher Jacob deGrom left the Mets this past offseason. They also lost starting pitcher Chris Bassett and starting pitcher Taijuan Walker, so 3 out of their 5 starters gone. Relief pitcher Michael Givens, relief pitcher Seth Lugo, and relief pitcher Trevor Williams. So they lost a ton of pitching, but they pretty much made it up with who they signed and added to their team. Their lineup: center fielder Brandon Nimmo, right fielder Starling Marte, shortstop Francisco Lindor, first base Pete Alonso, second base Jeff McNeil, designated hitter Daniel Vogelbach, left fielder Mark Canha, third base Eduardo Escobar, and catcher Omar Narvaez. Starting pitching: Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Kodai Senga, Carlos Carrasco, and Jose Quintana. In the bullpen: Edwin Diaz, Adam Ottavino, David Robertson, Brooks Raley, Drew Smith, John Curtis, Steven Nogosek, and Eliezer Hernandez. So
Adam Ottavino.
Okay. Sounds kind of like onomatopoeia.
His name probably isn't onomatopoeia. Adam Ottavino.
It also just sounds like you're saying Italian gibberish or something.
That sounds fancy.
I don't know.
Pinky up, Adam Ottavino.
Anyway, the Mets have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball. They currently have committed for 2023 alone just under $338 million.
Is Adam out of wine? Adam Ottavino.
That's very funny. With the luxury tax for being over the competitive balance threshold, they are paying $469 million
That's offensive.
total. Their tax bill is bigger than 9 teams' total payroll.
9 teams combined or 9 individual payrolls?
Individual payrolls. They look like one of the best on paper teams in Major League Baseball. They are establishing that they don't want to go away and they want to play for championships, but just opening up your wallet doesn't lead to that. Doesn't lead to that. That's all I got to say about it. What do you think?
I'm ready to watch it. I hope
Watch them tank.
I hope that they paid that much money for nothing. I hope I have opinions.
I know your prediction, and I like that this is setting up for your prediction later on.
Yeah.
We're going to get a lot of people in New York mad, probably. But
Maybe they'll listen to the podcast.
maybe. They'll hate listen to us after this.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Just so they can shit talk.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Do it.
The water's nice.
You won't. All right. Speaking of those predictions, it is time. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I think that the controversy can wait.
All right. Controversy?
Controversy.
All right. So we're going to do this reverse order. So we're going to name our last place teams first. In last place, prediction for the 2023 season, I have the Washington Nationals finishing 5th. It's another rebuild year, and like I said earlier, depending on how their prospects perform, the rebuild could double in length. If they have good years, then you're looking at maybe getting out of the bottom of the division next year. If they have bad season, then you're looking to have to pick and choose who stays and who goes, and where you need to improve, and whether you give them time to improve or if you need to make a move right then, which could mean you're finishing 5th place for several more years. 4th, I have the Miami Marlins. They're exciting. Got a lot of young players on their team, but they're still missing some pieces. Outside of the top 3 in their lineup, Jazz Chisholm, Jorge Soler, and Luis Arraez, the drop-off in the lineup is pretty steep. Love Joey Wendell, but sorry, you're not doing it for me.
I mean, he's not very good. He's okay.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's not bad.
He's more known for his defense and utility, but
yeah.
The bullpen kind of leaves something to be desired for the Marlins. Their strength is their rotation, but the back end of that rotation is probably going to struggle against tougher competition, like including their own division teams. 3rd place, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. Of the 3 in that 3-horse race that I mentioned earlier, they have a lot more that they need to go right for them to make a run for the division. I think the Mets and the Braves have a stronger rotation than them, and that's what I think carries a team down the stretch. Like, unless their lineup explodes like it did toward the end of 2022, the same way in 2023, I think their postseason run is a lot shorter this year. 2nd, New York Mets. All I have written for them is until they show they can get past the Braves, they're staying number 2. And, of course, that leaves number 1, the Atlanta Braves. I like their lineup better. They have more youth on their team and more speed. And I think one of the key things to watch this year is going to be taking the extra base, because the shift rules have changed. You can't have 3 guys on one side of the infield, so there's going to be a lot more balls hit up the middle that get into the outfield. And they've got a lot of guys that can go 1st to 3rd.
Plus, the bases are smaller. Bigger?
Yeah,
The bases
bigger.
are bigger.
The
distance
is smaller. That's my picks.
Cool. Mine's not going to make sense to anyone, and I don't super much care. I am a pessimist in real life, but an optimist in baseball, apparently. So my number 5 pick is the Miami Marlins. I have never been fond of them just as a whole, so I don't really care for them to do well. That may have a lot more to do with the fact that I grew up in Tampa than anything. We kind of just don't like Miami. Florida competition. This is the controversy. Number 4, I have the New York Mets. I, with my whole heart, think that they spent a ton of money to do nothing. And I'd kind of like to see that happen. Money does not buy
Wins.
a good team. Money doesn't buy wins. Yeah, that's really the only way to put it.
Yeah, I think it's about the people that you have on the team, too.
Yeah, and the fact that you're willing to fork out that much money for all of these people, I think it's a lot like when the girl from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory demands all of that stuff and then she turns into the big blueberry.
Veruca Salt. Are you impressed that I knew that?
A little, yeah. So spending money doesn't always get you what you want.
You can't always get what you want.
My third pick is super optimistic. I have the Washington Nationals as number 3. I'm always really quick to root for the underdog. That's like a thing that Kristen and I have done our whole lives. If we go into something and we don't care who's playing, we want the lesser team to win.
I mean, I think a lot of people are that way, but I had to be
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have to be optimistic. Number 2, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. I was pretty bummed that they didn't win last year, actually.
Well, you are very outspoken about your Astros hate.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll let you get close again, but I'm not going to let you beat the Braves.
I'm not sure if you guys have been following our countdown to opening day posts, but there was one that she made that I would not allow to be posted, where it was literally Jose Altuve reacting to being hit in the foot or the shin with like a foul ball, and it looked like he was bending over and taking a shit or something, and I wouldn't let him post
I thought it was really flattering, but I was vetoed. He also didn't find it as funny as I did. I cackled while I was making it, and he was like, no. So straight-faced. But number 1, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves. I just like the Braves. I have never had any problem with the Braves, so it's not anything to do with bias that would send them to the bottom of my list, like almost everyone else on here. I like what they're doing. I like what they're bringing to the table.
It's kind of unheard of. Like I mentioned before, they're signing all of these guys, young players that have played maybe a season or two for them, to really long-term deals. And then they traded for Sean Murphy, and he signed an extension almost immediately as well. It's crazy.
Grass grows where you water it.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. But,
Well, they're picking the young guys, and then they're teaching them how to play.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
grass grows where you water it.
Giving them that much off of one season, it's it's kind of a risk. But
I mean, it's super risky for sure. But if you approach someone and you're like, hey, I think that you can be really great. I'm going to pay you like you're going to be really great. And then watch me make you really great. And it's working. We have Fangrams. Our favorite time of the podcast. Not super exciting, though, because I'm going to be honest with you. All 3 of them came from my mom. But
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and we sure do love my mom. So
Thanks, Pam.
Thanks, Pam. The other day, a couple episodes ago, whatever, I said that my mom had her knees replaced. She wanted to make sure that everyone knows that she has her own knees. They're real. They're hers. She just had knee surgery on them, not knee replacements. So her knees...
There is a difference.
Yes. While her knees are not in tip-top shape, she's currently nursing no meniscus in one of her knees.
She's got softball knees, doesn't she? Softball and golf.
Gymnastics.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
4 older brothers.
How could I forget about gymnastics? She does ninja poses and stuff all the time.
We should probably have a whole episode just about my mom and her baseball career. She played on the men's baseball team in high school.
Yeah, we could have her as a guest. That's a great idea.
A great idea. It's gonna be great. All right, so let's get to these fangrams. The first one from Pam. We are shouting out to Kristen. Happy belated birthday, Kristen. Her birthday was on the 28th of February. I almost said August. That's my birthday. Do that every time.
February.
Happy belated birthday, Kristen. We love you. Love Pam. It's true. She didn't say from mom and dad. She said from Pam. Another belated birthday. This one is also from my mom. Also to my grandmother. Just like the one from my dad was. Happy 92nd birthday, Grandma. She may be old, but...
Why she gotta put the age in there?
She's still cruising. We're proud of the fact that she's 92 years old. She's still kicking. And then the final fangram for this week. Again, from my mother. Shout out to Will and Carrie from Pam. She says, shout out for all the chuckles I get while listening to your podcasts. I know that at the point that you're going to be hearing about these podcasts, you've already committed to the fact that you're going to listen to this episode of the podcast. But my mom thinks we're funny, so you probably do too. So you guys should all continue to watch. I mean, we are pretty funny.
I wouldn't put pretty in front of it. Sometimes it's not pretty, but it's funny.
You know what's not pretty?
Me.
Adam out of vino. It's not fun to be out of wine.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying him as a person.
No.
I don't even know what
I don't know what he looks like either. He's okay. I'd say above average, but not like great. So if you are interested in sending a fangram, we have that Google form available for you on our website. Click on our link tree, fill it out, say hello to someone. Say hello to us if you want to. Let us know that you're listening because we like to hear from you.
Mets fans, tell us how wrong we are about our predictions. That's all we've got for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it or hated it or disagree with our opinions, let us know. But please give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Comment. Did I say that? We're on Facebook, TikTok,
Twitter, Instagram, sometimes on YouTube.
Yeah, we didn't cover this at the top, but we're not going to be doing video recordings of the actual podcast any longer. We might post video with just audio on YouTube, but our YouTube channel is going to be for vlogs of us going to games and stadium reviews and stuff like that. So you guys can look forward to that.
And that may be something that we bring back in the future, but for right now, we're gonna bite off what we can chew. But we'll send you guys some vlog updates of Tropicana Field and Atlanta, probably Miami. Colorado, for sure.
I think that's all that we have planned for this year so far.
And not a single other ticket except for Tropicana Field has been purchased.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know. Adam Alavino.
It does sound like he's out of wine.
Yeah.
That'll be our first shirt. It'd be a very niche thing. Like, I don't think he's a really...
Niche?
Niche.
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 Niche. All right, this has been the Baseball and Chain podcast.
Till death do us, baseball.
Good night.
Or good morning.
Good morning.
When are you listening to this? Delete.